Hey folks, welcome back to the channel, your home for all content Lord of the Rings home. Today I'm going to talk specifically about my free-to-play account and how it's doing in raids and what my plans for future raids are. So let's get into it. These are my scores from my previous raid. It was about a week ago. We started on Wednesday last week, so about 6 days ago, I guess. As you can see, I've got 4 attempts here. 2 of them are at difficulty 2. They're just my light and shadow teams, right? And my Isengard team with Grimlers actually did really well, max points on difficulty 2, and that's pretty much exclusively because I have a very high stars on my Ironhide and my Ugluk, and they pretty much carried everything. My Rohan plus Halbachad plus Strider combo, it does okay. I want to do a little bit better, and that's actually one of the things I worked on this past week. And then this is my sort of elf marquee team. Again, I could do a little bit better here, and I have put some more resources into them this week. This team is really carried by the Naramiri here. And then I've got this trash. This was basically just an attempt to get to the next personal reward, which worked. But yeah, I need a solid plan moving forward for a 4th team. So let's actually get into that. Let me switch. Okay. So I just hit level 57 yesterday, and if you watched my other video about whether you should max one team or go for multiple teams, the piece of advice that I feel pretty confident on is that you cannot get into difficulty 3 unless you are level 60 and the characters on that team are pretty much all 5-star and are pretty much maxed. I think that's when you can really start to do damage in difficulty 3. And I'm not at level 60 yet. So following my own advice, I am not going to be trying to take teams into difficulty 3 at the moment. That being said, if you saw my scores from the last time, I did meet the goal that I've set for everybody in my guild, which is to get 500,000 points. Basically, that's just to make sure that we get into chapter 2. If you've got a full guild, everybody gets 500,000 points. You guarantee that you're going to have that 17 million to go from chapter 1 into chapter 2. And with chapter 2 around the corner, hopefully this week, I think that that is very important. And so I actually did 200,000 points better than I did the first raid. So I went from about 400,000 points on my free-to-play account to about 600,000 points on my free-to-play account in 1 week. So I think that's actually a big improvement. And a lot of that comes down to just thinking about my raid teams and putting a little bit of minimal resources into them. So speaking of, let's go by power here, and I'll kind of just go what I've done through recently. So since last raid, I've gotten Ironhide to 7 stars. Ugluk, I'm going to be getting to 7 stars, probably not before we start our next raid. I've gotten, basically because Ironhide, Ugluk, Tummy Trouble, and Strider and Eowyn are my arena team. Obviously, they are the highest power here. These guys have gotten a little bit more work as well, but I've also put some into Eothane, just so that he can survive a little bit longer, and I hope to have Ugluk at gear 8 here. So even though I'm hoping that my Rohan team is going to be scoring a little bit better, I'm hoping to aim for 250k. Obviously, ideally, it would be 300k. Not much improvement I can make on the Isengard side because they're already at max. Naramiri's staying there, but I also started putting resources into a few of my elf squad. If you'll recall, which you won't because I didn't point it out, but basically, not all of my elf marquee team characters were gear 4. And I've changed that now. They're all gear 4, and they all should be skill level 3, and kind of at this level 30. I guess he's got a little bit to go here. Let me just do that now. Great. I was struggling with purple or yellow mats rather. Okay, so now he's taken care of. So that team I'm hoping to basically get a max 100k with as well this next round. I think it should be pretty possible. The elf team is pretty fun to play under Legolas, and I like what they're doing. I guess I'll have to check and make sure I've got all their skills done, but I'm not getting a lot of ability materials right now because I'm farming Ugluk up to 7 stars. So the real question then becomes, well, what do I do with how do I make a 4th team out of the stuff that I have? If we go back and again sort by power here. And that's actually a question I've had a hard time answering. And so you can see I'm bringing Morja up. That's intentional. And I'm farming Ajak. Also very intentional. I want to get that complete Isengard squad. And then I could probably sub in either Azak or Morja. Probably Morja for Grimlers on my Isengard team. I'm not going to take Ironhide out of there because he just carries it so well right now. But the question becomes, what do I do with a 4th raid team? How do I get that extra 100,000 points to help contribute to my guild in case somebody is, pressed for time and can't get the full 500,000 points? What are we going to do? And I think the solution I've come up with is basically I want to use Shagrat lead. Let me just promote him right now. The reason I want to use Shagrat is because his stars are easily available. And I think that's pretty important criteria for raids in general. I think Mordor is a fun team that I do eventually want to try out. I don't know if I'm going to have the resources to do it on my free-to-play account. But what I like is that his leader ability isn't specified to Mordor for getting this turn meter. Obviously, if you're part of Mordor, then you're going to be getting more turn meter. But it's not just for Mordor. So you can slot things under him and still get that turn meter gain. What I like about that is specifically thinking about Chapter 2 of the raid, which I think is what I'm going to try and focus on for this next team, is just making sure I have some good options for Chapter 2 of the raid. So Shagrat lead, and then I'm going to put Wubate in there. And you may be wondering, why don't I just do all the Haradrim? And I haven't started farming Roble and F2. If I go to Haradrim here, they're at 1 star. And they're hard node farms. It's going to take me a while to get them up to a reasonable level. I guess I need to... Did I just completely skip this on my free-to-play account? I think I still need to do this. Okay, that's a good reminder. But it's just not farmable right now, and I don't think I want to focus on them because I know the elves should become farmable soon, and I'd rather work on getting them up star ranks for Elrond when he comes back around, because I know that's a guaranteed thing, as opposed to trying to rush the Haradrim when we don't know that much information about them. So I'm kind of choosing to play a safe route there and trying to get Elrond on the second time, as opposed to hoping the data mine is correct. Okay. That's why I'm not doing Haradrim, but I do want to do Wubate because I think he's powerful with his slow, right? His slow is great, and it's easy to star him up compared to hard node farming. So Shagrat, Wubate, I'm obviously getting Ajak and Morja up, so I'll maybe swap one of them into my Eisen squad for Grimlers, and then Grimlers can drop down and, play with Shagrat, which is what he's meant to be. So that brings me to 4, right? So let's just say I have Shagrat, Ajak, Wubate, and Grimlers on a team there. And I'm just going to get them up to, like, the same with my elves, just 100k team to start, a difficulty 1 team, level 30, 32, skills level 3, gear 4, gear 5. Probably gear... Yeah, I think gear 4 is actually okay, especially with the amount of star levels. It just reset the default sorting thing again, which is just a lovely bug. Okay, so then the question is, who do I use for a 5th? And I think the answer I've come up with is that I want to use Biffer. And hear me out here. I'm not going to have any dwarves on my team, but hear me out. I'm not even going to use him as leader, but hear me out. Okay, this man looks like he is built for Chapter 2. So with this team, I'm hoping with Shagrat lead, I can have Banes applied to the Cave Troll here, right? And then everybody's hitting the Cave Troll, and so everybody's generating at least a little bit of turn meter. And this guy is specifically anti-large creature, anti-Cave Troll, right? A blind, super effective. Ugluk is the only other one in the... Oh, no, a Sam, I guess, as well. So maybe I think I want to stick with Biffer, but Sam might be a good option, too. Inflicting blind and slow on a large creature. That's going to be massive for the Cave Troll again. And then just giving a little bit of defensive capabilities to my team. What I like about this is that it's not dwarf specific, right? Even as passive, when all squad members get hit by the same attack, 50% chance to grant 1 stack of defensive to those squad members. That's at unlock, right? That is not specific to dwarves. So I think he's actually going to be a decent plugin for a kind of difficulty 1 Chapter 2 raid team. Not going to worry about the leadership ability because that is more specific to dwarves. Also, I do want to point out, somebody mentioned that maybe the Nimble on Legolas is going to mess this up, and we'll see how that plays out. because I'm curious about that as well. It might not be worth having Legolas on your team. We'll find out when Chapter 2 is released and when Biffer gets put into the game. So my guild plans on starting a raid tomorrow. We have the keys. So we're going to start a raid tomorrow. So obviously I'm not going to be able to get Biffer going this time around, but that's okay because I just have been putting resources into my Rohan team and scoring up some of my arena team, so I'm not actually ready for that 4th team yet. But moving into the future, I think I want to do Shagrat lead. Eventually Grimler is back on there because he's Mordor. Probably Ajak. And then Wubate for the slows and just a little bit of general tankiness. And then Biffer, because I think Biffer's also going to help sort of give that defensive capability to Wubate. He's going to have the most stars. So he's probably going to have the most health of the people on my team. Just giving him a bunch of defensives, keeping my team alive. There's not a lot of sustain on this team, unfortunately. So I have to think about that. And whether I want to do something about that instead, maybe not have Ajak, maybe have somebody else who can provide a little bit of sustain, maybe just quickly farming up Pippin and seeing how that goes. That could be fun too. But that's kind of where I'm at with my free-to-play team. I'm just working on getting a 4th difficulty 1 team and thinking specifically about Chapter 2. Let me know what you all are doing. Obviously, I need to go and get Bekaloo, because that's ending really soon, and I haven't done it yet. But anyway, thanks for watching.